All right, folks, so let's start off with our first link for this week, and we have our link to our Essay 4 assignment sheet. And you'll see here this link just simply takes you over to the main page. And let's go ahead and start with our deadlines. Okay, so for us, peer review will be taking place Monday through Wednesday, November 23rd to the 25th. That's right up to Thanksgiving. Now, because of Thanksgiving, though, I'm moving back the rough draft dates and the final draft date. So you'll see that the Monday, rather than it be that Friday, which would be right after Thanksgiving, you're going to have until the 30th, the next Monday, to turn in your rough draft. And then your final draft will be turned in on the 7th, the following Monday, which would be right before finals. Okay. So, and then during that week, what we'll basically be doing leading up to that finals week, we'll be doing some MLA review and practice leading up to our final exam, which will be a response essay, just to throw that in there. Now, what you're doing for this actual paper is a response essay itself, okay? So you're actually, in a sense, kind of getting a little bit of practice. You're going to be given a reading. In this case, your reading here is Grant Morrison's opening argument about superheroes from his book, Super Gods. So you'll basically be reading the introduction. You're basically going to try and look at this exactly, try to come up with an introduction. We're going to talk a little bit more about the thesis statement in another video. But you will then summarize it, sort of like what you did with Essay 2. You'll summarize his main work, and then you will then respond to his work. And we'll be talking more detail about those next week, as well as then have a conclusion. So we're going to talk more specifically about this thesis material in another post. You're basically going to craft an introduction with a thesis statement. That thesis statement itself will be basically a decision point where you're going to either agree, disagree, or both agree and disagree with Morrison's position. You're then going to summarize, and then you're going to return to that response section where you will then elaborate, starting with your own personal views and response. So you're going to get a chance to do that, followed by specific response to something that Morrison said in the actual paper itself. And then, of course, you will be asked to use 1 to 2, preferably 2 to 3 outside sources. And I will be giving you some of those to work with. So what's going to be required here in terms of key elements is a clear, arguable thesis statement. We'll talk more about that. A summary and a response. Those are the key factors that are required. Now, right here at the very bottom, you'll see I have a link to the reading. Some of this may be familiar to you. I believe we looked at this in the diagnostic essay, so we'll be returning to that. Same thing we had there, okay? I do have a template here for us working with it, so you can input directly into the template like you've been able to do with all the other essays. So you'll see here in a second as soon as it pulls itself up. Okay, here's the introduction, here's the response, here's the the summary, response, conclusion, and I provided you with the first works cited entry. Here is your works cited entry for the reading itself. You, of course, want to add at least 2 to 3 possible other sources to that. So that is available for you there as well. There is a PowerPoint. I think we'll take a look at that later. I want to talk more about that PowerPoint specifically when we talk about response. So we'll be looking at that ourselves a little bit more later. And this is just a guideline walkthrough here. I like to have these sometimes. Gives you some ideas of how to approach each of the sections of your essay. Okay, and like I said, I leave room in here for people writing, mainly because in the past, if we were meeting in person, I would have you guys filling these out as sort of a working outline for you to then use in your paper. Okay, so that's all there. And this week's first discussion forum is all about you taking a look at this, taking the readings, and coming to me with any questions, concerns, observations, and challenges you think you're going to have in this process. Okay, so I look forward to working with you in the discussion forum and responding to you.